just like really clear. It was just a really clear night, and like the stars was out, and I just remember like looking at up at the stars, and I just remember just like asking myself, like, I just remember asking myself, who was I becoming?
All right, Andrea.
Yes,
Andrea, where did you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I am from Cleveland Heights, Ohio.
And tell me about your family growing up. You had both your mom and dad?
No, so my mom raised me. I lived in a single parent household. Um, my dad was never really around. He was never really a part of my life. He kind of let me know, like around the time my mom died, that he divorced her because she wouldn't abort me. So my dad never really wanted me. So I just grew up with my mom.
Wow. Your mom did a good job?
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I'm
I
asking.
think I think she did, but I mean, I don't know. I'm into so much, that I think she would be a little disappointed. But at the end of the day, it's my life, so I should be able to live my life the way I want to live my life.
You went to school?
Yes, I went to high school and I graduated from college with an associate's degree in arts.
Good for you.
Thank you.
But you chose another career, at least temporarily, right?
Yeah, so I started dancing when I was 19. I started exotic dancing when I was 19. And I got off into like doing some escorting and like being a call girl for a short time between the ages of 19 and 22.
That opportunity is presented to girls that work in the clubs, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I actually started dancing because my dog got really sick, and I was kind of cut off financially from my mom for like ever since I was maybe like 15 or 16. And so I just didn't really have much financial support. And she started kind of dating someone, and I kind of felt like she wanted me to move out and like have my own place and stuff, but I just wasn't ready. I've never seen my mom date anyone before, so I feel like she kind of slightly just acted a little differently. I could just tell it was time for me to get my own space and stuff. So I just needed the money, and I started dancing when I was 19. I My mom introduced me to one of her best friend's sons, who's a writer in the music industry. And at the time, I was 19, and he was like maybe like 40, and he kind of like propositioned me in a sexual way. He asked me to like perform oral sex on him for $80, and I was not very comfortable. I just kind of felt like I didn't have to do
This is in
it.
what context? At a club?
No, this is before I was dancing. So this is what kind of made me start dancing. Um, he said he would give me money to help my dog, but he wanted me to like. He was already like kind of like grooming me in a sexual way. So because he wrote music, at the time I wanted to be a singer. I've always wanted to be like a singer and like be in theater and do plays and stuff. And I feel like to some extent he kind of preyed on that, and he wanted me to like record this demo song for him to send to like a singer in the music industry. So like my mom wanted me to do it, and like it just seemed like a really great opportunity because I used to sing growing up. Like I've sung at like the House of Blues in Cleveland and won contest at the radio station, and so I was open to singing the demo. And so the only thing was is I could only do it like after school and stuff like that, and after work or whatever. And so I would have to sneak out. Like I just kind of would sneak out of my bedroom window and go to his house so I can record, record in his studio, his in-home studio. And he didn't live that far either. So I mean, it was kind of like it was cool. Like I didn't feel like it was any way to get caught. Like it was like foolproof. And so he kind of was like, I guess his fiance had just recently passed away. So he kind of was like coming on to me like in a sexual way. And I kind of figured like, well, I was flattered at first because he was like so much older than me. I was like really flattered. But I mean, I didn't really know, like, I didn't really know what I was getting into or whatever. So this particular time I needed the money, and my mom, she obviously was dating someone and she didn't want to like, help me out financially anymore. My dad was never really around. So I got into this really big blowout with my mom and I just told her, you know, I need if I can't I need some money. Like I need help. I was working like two jobs at the time and I was paying my own car insurance or whatever. I mean, I was like really young. I was working at Abercrombie and Fitch. And I was working at like Valley Total Fitness or something. And I was like broke. Not just as broke as I was just broke. And so I just told my mom, well, okay, that's fine. You don't have to get me money. I'll just start getting it from men in the street. And obviously, I don't think she believed me. I didn't believe me, but I was serious about it. I needed money. And my dog was sick. And anyone who knows me knows I love my dogs. And so I told this guy that I needed some money to help my dog. And he told me that he would give me the money if I performed oral sex on him. And at first I just didn't know how to feel about it. It just so happened that I had a nurse who would come and help my grandmother that was living in our home. I guess she used to like turn tricks like back in the day. And I kind of told her, I kind of was going to her for advice. I'm like, hey, this guy, he said he's going to give me some money, but he wants me to like give him like head or whatever. And she was like, well, if you're going to do it, this is how you do it. So, I mean, I didn't expect her to say, I didn't know what she was going to say, but I just needed, like, I was talking to an adult about it, and I wasn't going to talk to my mom about it because it was like a secret. And she just kind of gave me some rules to it. And one thing she made very important to me was safe sex and protection. And so, I mean, I had every intent on doing it, but I got uncomfortable because he didn't want me to use a protection. Like he didn't want me to use a condom. So I got super uncomfortable with that. And I just felt like there's no way I'm going to put my beautiful lips in jeopardy by performing oral sex on this guy, on this random guy. I just rather go to the strip club and I don't know, take my top off and guys will pay me for the fantasy of being with me instead of having sex with them. So I was dancing at first, well, I don't want to say the clubs I worked at, but I first started out dancing in like this. It wasn't necessarily a hole in the wall, but it was just like a real like laid back, quiet place or whatever. And my first audition song I danced to was Britney Spears Circus. And, and they hired me. Of course, I was underage, but they hired me. So that was my first dancing job.
How long did you do that?
So I worked there for maybe like a year. And I always, like, there's like 3 major clubs in Cleveland that you want to work. And I wanted to get to like the big dog club. Like we're all like the big, huge mansion looking like, Playboy Mansion. I wanted to work there, but I don't think I had the experience at the time. So I started out at like the smaller club, and I did that for about a year. But what would happen is that I would start to develop feelings for my regulars that would come in and see me. So I would start to like them and have crushes on them and stuff. And so like,
that's unusual.
Yeah, I know.
Most of these girls despise their clients.
Yeah, no, I feel like they cared about me to some extent, and I cared about them to some extent too. So I just felt like it was a working relationship, and I had really like developed feelings for this one client, and we ended up like hooking up, and I went to talk to one of my friends about it that worked in the club with me, and I told her, oh my God, I said, I hooked up with this guy. I hooked up with such and such. And she was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, did he pay you for it? And I was like, no. I mean, was he supposed to? And she was like, yes, you never do that and not get paid for it. So I was like, oh, okay. So that's when I started to like make money from it. But I mean, it wasn't like I was just kind of like a streetwalker. It was more so like I was really developing feelings and like, I don't want to say falling in love with them, but I really cared about them. And, you know, I feel like they cared about me, and I feel like they did care about me. So we just kind of like would hook up every once in a while. Like every 2 weeks, like they would fly into town, like on business trips and stuff. And, it was really nice for me as a younger woman. Like I would be in these really huge, expensive hotels, and like they were so nice. Like they were so big and they were so pretty. And I don't know, I just feel like a little princess because they would spoil me and they would let me order room service and like get cakes and like, I don't know, everything I wanted. And I just,
And help you with your financial security.
yeah. So I had the best of both worlds. Like I was pampered and I could just, make my own money, and I never had to ask my mom or my dad for anything else. I never needed to ask anyone else for money because I was technically working for the money, but it was like some type of leisure to it. So it was cool.
And your heart was even involved.
Yeah. So it didn't feel so bad. Like it didn't really feel bad. I mean, I've had like bad experiences, like some guys would like some guys I would feel like will be like murderers and stuff. So like this one guy, I was sitting on his lap just talking to him at the club, and he was just kind of like, you should get away from me. And I was like, why? Like I was like, having fun hanging out with him. I'm like, why? He's like, because I break women. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I take them to my basement and I break them. And you're way too pretty for me to do to you what I normally do to them. And I was like, okay, well, thanks. And I left. And then, so you run into a lot of situations where guys will, like are into like some like abusive stuff. Like, they may be into watching like abusive porn and stuff like that. So you'll have like moments where you may be doing a champagne room, and normally the security is supposed to be like watching on the cameras to make sure the girl is okay. But I've had instances where guys will like put me like in a headlock or something, or be like hitting me and like beating on me. And I mean, I didn't really have anyone come in and help me, so I just kind of like had to like wait until it was kind of over and just try to stay on the other side of the room and keep a distance between us. But most of the times in that environment, guys are like high on coke, and like it's just a lot of coke and a lot of drugs circulated. And I never tried any drugs other than like marijuana. But yeah, you'll meet guys who are really like into some weird stuff. Like I was actually dating this one guy. Well, I actually dated two guys that I think murdered their girlfriends that I kind of like met in that industry just from like partying and stuff. Like I would run into them, and like they were just always in the area at the club that I worked at. So this guy I was dating, well, he liked me and he wanted to date me, but I just wasn't sure if I wanted to date him yet. And I just was talking to one of my friends about it, and they were like, he murdered his girlfriend. Yeah, I think he murdered his girlfriend, but like he was trying to get me by myself. And I was like against it, obviously, because like I think he murdered his girlfriend. And like, I've just met guys who are just into some dark stuff, and like will make certain jokes about like killing their girlfriend and putting them in the Cuyahoga River. And it was really nerve-wracking for me because people was really being found in the river, like dead, like women were really dying and like being found in the river. So I just been in some like close call situations where it could have been really bad for me, but I was able to like get out of that situation, thankfully, because I didn't know what was going to happen. Like this guy I was dating, and I went over to his house. I thought it was just going to be him, but it ended up being like 3 of his friends, and I just kind of came in and I just didn't know what I was walking into. And so I was trying to be normal, like not feel like not let them know I was scared or anything. And like I kind of like asked a question like, so why are you single? And he was just like, because I killed my girlfriend and threw her body in the river. And I was just kind of like, okay, well, I'm gonna get ready to go. So I left. But you'll find a lot of that in the strip clubs. Like you'll find like a lot of like politicians and like police officers at the strip club too. Like um, a nice portion of my clients were police officers, and this one police officer, like I guess you start to feel uncomfortable because some people have so much power that if they did something to you, they can get away with it. So it's just a really scary situation to be in because you never really know like what could happen to you and if you ever be found. Like there was one police officer that was like really, really obsessed with me in a way, but he was like a regular. He would come to the club and, you know, I would dance for him or whatever. We never hooked up or anything because I was like really scared of him. But so he wanted my phone number and I gave him my number. And well, actually, no, I just told him I was going to give it to him at the end of the night. And so at the end of the night, the security usually comes out and like clears out the premises so no girl feels like afraid. And so I got in my car and I seen him in his car, but I was hoping like if I started just driving off, he would never like of course you don't think anyone's going to chase you down the street in your car. And it was like really late, like 4 o'clock in the morning. And he started following me and he was like chasing me. And I was like trying to drive and trying to get out the way because I couldn't believe this officer was chasing me. He's a police officer. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like if it's a police officer chasing me, like what the fuck? Like, so then I got to a red light, like the light turned red. And so I stopped at the red light and like, he hopped out the car and he started knocking on my window and he was like, you said you were going to give me your phone number. And I was like, okay, well, so I gave him my phone number and he called it right in front of me. And I was so happy I gave him my real number because I felt like if I would have gave him a fake number, like he probably would have been pissed. So I didn't really know what to do. So I just kind of gave him my number. But you'll just find like guys who like have their like they have like really sick obsessions with girls. Like they will become like really obsessed. You'll get stalkers and stuff like that. Like this one guy I met, he kind of became a stalker, and I don't know if he ever like had my home address or not, but one day he texted me and he was like, I bet you're wearing, like he said something about the color of my underwear, and the color of my underwear was exactly what he said it was. So like I don't know if he was like following me or not. So you meet some weirdos. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was really scary. And I was so young, like I didn't really know what to do. Like I never told anyone. I just kind of was like, well, that comes with the territory, you know? Like you're playing with guys' desires and sexual urges, so you never know like how they may respond, especially depending on the type of like porn and stuff that they're watching. Like people start to like dehumanize you in a certain type of way where you're more of like just a sexual object. So you never really know how people would respond to you. Like but then like that's when I started to kind of like realize that the fetish industry was really a lucrative industry because I would have some clients come and just want to like buy my underwear that I was wearing. They wanted my used underwear, so they would like buy my underwear and just smell my underwear. And I had some guys come and like just want to like smell my feet and like lick my feet and stuff. And that was so funny. So that's my first time I ever like had like I ever knew that feet was like a thing that people like get into. So I would start letting them like kind of like suck my feet and smell my feet, like. So that was kind of fun. So yeah.
And it's safer as well, I think, right?
Yeah, and you don't have to have sex. So I liked it that because I didn't want to like. I got uncomfortable at a point in time. I kind of felt like maybe the money was changing me and changing like my outlook on life because everything became about the money and not about like who I was as a person. And I didn't really like how it was making me feel and how it was making me feel about myself. Like one night in particular, I was leaving the club and like obviously these were still guys that I was interested in, physically attracted to, because I would only like go towards guys that I was physically attracted to, because it would make my job a lot easier. Like I wouldn't have to like deal with any guy that was like stinky or musty or anything. Like it would be guys that were like clean cut, attractive, like I mean, they weren't always fit, but I'm a chubby chaser, so I like heavier guys. But yeah, so one night in particular, I had like two clients. Like I had like two clients like lined up that wanted to like sleep with me for money. And I just remember like and this was two guys and like in like the same day. And I just remember like before I went, and these were two like separate things. I've never like done any like gangbangs or trains or anything like that. But it was just like I've never slept with more than one person in a day. And I remember like walking outside of the club and like I don't know, this the sky was just like really clear. It was just a really clear night and like the stars was out. And I just remember like looking up at the stars, and I just remember just like asking myself like I just remember asking myself who was I becoming. And thank you. I just remember like looking up and just asking myself who was I becoming, because I didn't know who I was anymore. So I didn't end up going through with it. I didn't end up seeing either one of them, but it just bothered me that I felt comfortable like maybe like sleeping with two guys in the same day for money. And it bothered me that I felt okay doing that, and I didn't do it. But obviously like well in my childhood I grew up like in a very religious environment. I was like raised in a strict religious environment, and so I knew right from wrong. But of course right and wrong is subjective depending on the person you ask. So it just didn't feel right for me. And even being religious, like I felt like I was never really understood in my religion because of my own like childhood traumas that I never really addressed or never really felt like was something that I needed to acknowledge. Like I was molested by a lot of my babysitters, relatives and family that I would be left with when my mom was at work. And I think it first started happening before I was even in school, like before I was in kindergarten. I started being molested, and most of the people that was molesting me were women. So that caused me to like struggle with my sexuality really, really hard. And at some point in time, I just was introduced to sex at a very early age. So since I was introduced to it at an early age, like as I became in my teens and like my preteen years, I kind of like developed like a porn addiction. And I just was like really entrenched in the world of sexuality and exploring your sexuality. So I mean, I kind of felt like I didn't know if I was like gay or straight, but I knew I had developed a strong attraction to women. And yeah, I first was molested when I was like a kid, and it happened when I was playing hide and seek, and I was hiding in a closet. And this particular person came into the closet and started touching me in my private area. And my first instinct was to get up and leave, but this person told me that if I got up to leave, that the boogeyman was going to come get me. So that's how young I was. I was afraid of the boogeyman, and I never told anybody, and I never said anything. And it just started to happen on a reoccurring basis at different people's houses. And I don't know, it just wasn't a good, it just didn't make me, I don't know how I felt, but it's just things that I would never forget. Like one experience I had where this older guy molested me at a babysitter's house, and he he had some like mental, I don't know what was wrong with him, but he was like he was a violent person. So when he would touch me, I would want to like start like screaming or asking for help, and he would start like hitting me, and like hitting on me, and I was like scared to say anything. So I never said anything. I just kind of like took it all in, and I just was like, well, this is some weird shit that's going on. Maybe it's just like, I don't know. I just thought like maybe I didn't think it was normal, but I didn't know why I was like the target in every different situation. It just seemed like no matter where I was, like if I was at school or if I was like at I don't know, like just like babysitter's house or just like wherever, you know, it would just kind of happen. So I just thought like maybe like, I don't know, I just didn't know what to think about it. Um, yeah. And then I would start to like, so the guy that used to like molest me and would start hitting me if I was telling anyone. Um, so he had sisters that were there as well. And one time I was just venting to them about being afraid of the dark, and he was like, well, she was like, well, you know, my brother really likes you a lot. So if you're ever afraid, you know, you can always call him for help, and he would do anything for you. So that's when I started to equate love and abuse together synonymously. So I was like, okay, well, maybe people will develop like these strong feelings for you that they can't control themselves, so they'll beat you up or hit you. And so I was just like, I kind of was a little flattered. Yeah.
Humans are interesting.
Yeah.
So the fetish thing you're doing now, are you more at peace with that? Are you more comfortable with that?
So yeah, I'm more at peace with that because I feel like I don't have to like have sex with anyone. So so how I started doing that is so obviously some things happen at the strip club with my feet, and I was like, oh, this is nice. I can make money doing this. So I stopped dancing when I was like 22 because I like got really entrenched in a particular Christian sect of religion, and I got baptized, and I just kind of was like a lot. I kind of like this one story where this guy, I guess, was dating this girl and asked her to like text her and asked her to see pictures of her feet or something, and she kind of betrayed him and like was telling her friends about it and putting it in a group chat and stuff and making fun of him, and it had gotten back to me. And at the time, I was the new cute girl around. I was like, you know, the hot girl, the new face or whatever. And everyone was making fun of him. And so I reached out to him and I let him know that it's nothing wrong with him liking, you know, feet. It's nothing wrong with embracing your own kinks and your own sexuality. It's nothing wrong with that. So we ended up like linking up, and he would like, you know, like lick my feet and stuff. And like, I just let him know, like, you know, you're free to do whatever you want with my feet. Like, you can be comfortable being yourself. So I felt good because I felt like I was doing a service to humanity by letting him know it's okay to be himself, and he can come suck my feet whenever he wants to. And so that's where it started. And then I noticed that, I don't know, it just like guys who I just would hear like we're having like a hard time, like they may be nerds or something, and people were like making fun of them for liking feet. Like I just would let them know that it's okay to like feet, and you can suck my feet and lick my toes and stuff. And
Is it less violating for you?
yeah, I think it's like I kind of like noticed that I liked the dominating another male is how I felt. Like dominating a male made me feel good.
So you're more in charge.
Yeah. Yeah. So they would suck my feet and I could just do whatever I want. Like I could just, you know, I could do whatever I want. And it made me feel like empowered. Like it made me feel like I had control or power over.
I imagine the money might be better too, right?
Yeah. They were paying me. Well, at the time, they weren't paying me. At the time, I was just doing it for fun. But one day I had painted my toenails this really pretty, like dark red color. And I posted it on Instagram. And I was like, ooh, new nail polish. And like I got all these messages from these guys like, oh my God, your feet are so pretty. Can I worship your feet? And I was like, I didn't know what that meant, but it never occurred to me that all this time I had been letting people worship my feet all this time. So I started like looking more into it, like looking at the foot fetish community and stuff. And then I started using hashtags so people can discover my feet. And so I made an OnlyFans for my feet. And then I would have guys reach out to me and pay me for pictures of my feet. And like sometimes they would want videos of my feet too. So, you know, they would just, you know, I give them some photos and some videos of my feet, like doing some weird stuff, like in mashed potatoes or spaghetti or something like that. And sometimes they would want me to change my nail polish, so I would charge them extra for that. And sometimes they would want me to make like a gift list on Amazon, and so they can buy me like jewels for my feet and like accessories and stuff. And so then I was started to make a lot of money from it. And then I would start to charge my friends to like suck my toes and lick my feet. So now I was making a lot of money doing it because a lot of guys that I had grown up with and had no idea that they had this fetish, a lot of them started to reach out to me. And it was cool because I was comfortable with them because I had known them for so long. So it was like, sometimes I would like, you know, I would link up with them and they would just like, you know, lick my feet and stuff. And I sent pictures of my feet and videos, and I started to make a lot of money doing it. And like the fetish community in general is just a really good, lucrative business because you'll have guys who want to like buy your urine and stuff like that, and then you'll have guys who like currently I also dance too, so like you'll have guys that are into like some other kinky stuff, like they want me to slap them or spit in their mouth. And I mean, it was fun for me because I was able to.
You enjoy the control.
Yeah. And now I can inflict abuse on someone else consensually with no one being hurt on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was cool.
What have you learned about men from all of this?
What have I learned from what?
About men.
Oh, what have I learned from men about men?
Do you see men differently because of this?
I don't know. I don't really see men differently because I feel like maybe I never really knew what men were about anyways. Because
you're not really judging them.
Yeah. I'm just kind of like letting them be themselves. And I don't really know what it will look like to, like, I don't know, like the whole concept of a real man and a real woman, like, I don't even know like what that even means. So it's just like, I just feel like everyone should be free to be themselves and do what they want to do. And if it's consensual and it's, you know, and no one's being hurt, I just feel like everyone should be free to explore their own sexuality and embrace their sexuality. And during this time, I felt like it gave me an opportunity to embrace my sexuality as a woman and not feel like people were taking it from me. So, like I've been raped a couple of times, like through the process of dancing and stuff like that, and meeting people that you think you can trust, and you find out that maybe you were too trusting. So, I just kind of feel like it's a way for me to take back my sexuality, where I'm saying like, this is my terms, this is on my terms, and this is on my conditions, and it's no longer being like stolen from me. It's no longer feeling like something precious is being ripped away from me. I feel like I just have more control over it. I feel like I can do what I want and I can ask for what I want. And it makes me feel empowered. Like I feel like in society today, like we try to like condemn sex workers and people in the fetish industry. And I just kind of feel like depending on the person that's doing it, like if it's consensual and if that's something they want to do, that's for them. Like, I don't feel like it's okay to condemn people and make them feel like crap because of what they choose to do. Like, we all have our own kinks and we all have our own fetishes and we all have things that make us, that make us tick, and no one should be like shamed because of it. And I'm just all about embracing yourself and embracing your sexuality.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
And a little bit safer for you, right?
Yeah, it's a lot safer because it's on my terms. So I feel more comfortable saying no because I can say no. I can say no now. I don't have to do something that I don't want to do. And I don't have to like feel uncomfortable or feel like I don't do anything I'm not comfortable with. So, it's less about that person on the receiving end and more about my comfortability. And I can say no when I want to. Like, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do.
That's great.
Yeah. And so most times it's not like I'm like soliciting myself or anything, but most of the time the guys will get like so excited that they'll just like climax in their pants. So I don't really perform any acts or anything or touch them in a sexual way. They just like, get excited and, it happens in their pants. Like, I'm fully clothed, they're fully clothed, and they just kind of like, get off on just feet. And so like they'll be so embarrassed and stuff like that. But, I laugh. It's a little funny to me. It's flattering. But it's okay though. It's okay,
Everything's going to be okay. We'll all be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because a person embracing themselves is the best thing in life, being happy with themselves and being happy with who we are, Like, I kind of feel like sometimes we get so wrapped up in everything else. Like personally for me, like being raised a very religious person, I just never belonged in my religion because I was just so different. Like, because of my life experiences as a child, being molested, I was drawn to certain sexual things. Like, so I just didn't feel like I belonged because either the people were like really like picking on me or just making me feel like I felt out of place. And some of the people wanted me to feel out of place. Like, I feel like I just felt like they didn't want me to feel comfortable. And so I didn't feel comfortable. And I just never felt like I could be successful in that particular religion because I just felt like I couldn't. I was always in trouble. I was always in trouble because I was just me, and I guess I'm trouble. But like, I've been disassociated a couple times. I'm currently disassociated now, and basically that's when no one's allowed to talk to you, or anyone. If you have family that's in that religion, they're not allowed to talk to you. No one affiliated with that organization is allowed to converse with you. So you feel outcasted and you just feel like you're thrown away and like you're disposable, and like people will forget about you for making mistakes or struggling in a certain area. People will just make your issues their issues by just showing you that they can no longer like be associated with you. And it's more hurtful than anything for me personally, because I've never really felt like I've had like much of the ideal family situation anyways, like not having a father and having older sisters that I kind of felt like didn't really take on to me because my mom had me when she was so much older. It was kind of like we were in a separate generation, so I never really developed like a sisterly bond with my older sisters. And like, I don't know, I just like after the death of my mom, like things got really weird and just got really weird and uncomfortable. And then I ended up getting like disassociated from my religion, and they like, I just feel like they, I don't know, just used it. Like one of my sisters, I felt, used it as an excuse to like not talk to me and not converse with me. Yeah, I've just always felt like I never really belonged anywhere. Like I was like severely bullied throughout school. Like I didn't even like I wasn't I never even went to preschool because I was bullied in preschool. And then I was homeschooled in 6th grade and middle school. So then I was like integrated back into public school, and I was raised in a diverse area. So like when I first started school, all of my friends were like white, Hispanic, black. And then like so I just got thrusted into public school with like majority black students, and that was an uncomfortable experience for me because obviously I stood out, and I was like really bullied about the way I talked, the way I dressed, and I don't know. It was hell. It was fucking hell. I got my ass bullied. Like I used to be crying in the bathroom. Like that's how bad it was. Like I would be crying in the
You were a
bathroom.
good student, though?
I was, yeah, I was a good student. I was just kind of like, I was just a quiet girl. I was like a really quiet, shy girl. Like no one really knew me. I was like a lame. That's what I was called, a lame. So
No one should ever feel that.
yeah, no one should ever feel that way. But you know, I I feel bad because I feel like I would come home and like bully my brothers, and it made me feel bad because I felt like I was making them feel like the way people in school was making me feel. And I still regret that, even still. And I've since then apologized to my brother because I wasn't happy for the way that I acted. Thank you. I wasn't happy for the way that I acted, but I feel like, it's weird. Like the whole bullying thing is very weird anyway.
It's always hurt people that hurt people.
Yeah. And so I wasn't proud of how I handled being bullied because I would come and bully my brothers living in the household. So that made me feel like a shitty sister. So, and then my youngest brother passed away. He was like, he was murdered in 2011. And that kind of like during that time, I had already started dancing. And so that just became like a whirlwind of emotions because I started to like use sex as a way to like mask my pain and not deal or process with the things that I was going through emotionally. So I would kind of use sex as a tool. And I think that's what my biggest problem is like learning how to like process my emotions without feeling like I need to like have sex with someone. And most times it's not very sex is not really an enjoyable thing. Like for me growing up, like having sex, like when I first lost my virginity, I thought it felt like death. And like I didn't start having sex again until I was like 18. I lost my virginity when I was 16 on my 16th birthday. And it was so bad. But yeah, I don't know. The guy I lost my virginity to, he was like a sweetheart. He would like come to my bedroom window when he got into fights with his family and just come and spend time with me. I kind of was like a safe haven for him. He would like bring me flowers to my bedroom window and stuff. So just kind of happened. But sex was never really enjoyable for me. I don't know why I was doing it. I just was trying to mask how I was feeling. And I guess I always felt like people was always pushing their sexual desires on me and like doing things to me as a kid that I just kind of was like, well, maybe this is what like you're supposed to do. I don't know, So I think that's kind of like where my struggle is trying to identify and figure out why sex became like a tool to feel better, even if it wasn't enjoyable. I think maybe it was the intimacy I was like looking for, like being intimate with someone and getting a hug or just being embraced. It just kind of made me feel better, and I was willing to do whatever to like fill that void. And just kind of like obviously it backfired, and my life was like just spiraling out of control. And yeah, I don't know. Just kind of felt like I didn't really belong anywhere. I don't know. The places I thought I was supposed to be, like in my religion, the places I thought I was supposed to be, I just didn't fit in. And I was never going to be perfect enough. Sometimes that can be frustrating, just not being perfect enough. And one particular time, one of like the highest ranking men in the like in the organization.
The church.
Yeah, like he would he will obviously go around from district to district or circuit or whatever, and he came on to me in a sexual way, and I didn't really know how to take that. I felt like I lost faith in religion after that, to be honest. Like I just was like, I don't feel safe anywhere when it comes to people and like their sexual desires, and like no one in my congregation ever like voluntarily came to me to let me know that wasn't my fault. And so I don't know, I just didn't feel as safe, and I just didn't feel like I don't know, I just didn't feel like I belonged. I just feel like anywhere I go, people were going to be sexual, towards me, or just towards anyone. Like people, anyone can feel uncomfortable. And yeah, I after that happened, like after I experienced him coming on to me like that, and no one ever coming to coming to me, like voluntarily coming to me and saying that this wasn't your fault and that you didn't do anything wrong, it just bothered me, because I felt like when I am doing something wrong, everyone is quick to correct me or like make me feel like I just wasn't good enough, and like I was like breaking everyone's heart, and like breaking God's heart. And but I just felt like when someone wronged me, like when a man of a certain status wronged me, no one really, it didn't seem like they cared. I mean, it just didn't seem like they cared. Like no one, I just didn't feel that embrace and that love to let me know that it wasn't my fault. And that bothered me. That bothered me a lot, because I was told that this was a place that I belonged. And ever since I came into it, I just never felt like I belonged. I just feel like the odd girl out. And I think because of my past, a lot of people held that against me and just never really wanted to give me a chance. And I feel like if I would have spoken out against this man, like my past would have been brought up. And I was just kind of like over it. Like I was just over it at that point in time. And it just really bothered me mentally. It just bothered me mentally for a while. And I don't know, it just bothered me. So I just kind of like strayed away from organized religion, because sometimes you're just really not safe anywhere. So yeah, I don't know.
Andrea, well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck with whatever you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.